So let's get right to it. Bheed, a film on the migrant crisis. But is it only on the migrant crisis? First, let's make it very clear that a lot of people may not watch this film, okay? Some may call it dark, some may call it uncomfortable. Some people might say, oh, I don't want to watch something so negative. I want to be positive. Because acknowledging reality, evidently, is negative. Living in denial is positive, but that's a different story altogether. This film is on a serious subject, a real subject. And sometimes I feel we don't like reality because it shakes us up. We'd rather look away from things that make us uncomfortable. And therefore, I think that this film may not be watched by that many people. Yet, ironically, this film tackles that mindset as well. So this film is not just about the migrant crisis. Yet, yes, it shows the harsh reality of the migrant crisis during the COVID lockdown. It shows the suffering of the underprivileged people, the things we hate to see as privileged people. It shows a side which many people don't like to see. The point is that this film is more than just about the migrant crisis. It actually is about mindset. It's about the divide and the disconnect between the underprivileged and the privileged. It's about perception versus reality. It's about acknowledgement versus denial. That is what this film is actually about. While the migrant crisis is the backdrop, it is the plot, the true plot. In fact, I will go and say the only fictional aspect of this film is the disclaimer in the beginning of the film that says this film is a work of fiction. That is the only fictional part of the film because that was clearly placed in the beginning of the film due to pressure by the censor board. Apparently, the censor board also is aware that the representation of reality hurts us more than reality itself. Okay? Now to the film further. There are different characters in the film. Now, while the plot is of the migrant crisis, as we follow the journey of the migrants, we are introduced to different characters which ultimately create a canvas for India at large. Rajkumar Rao, a police officer of the lower caste, right, comes to realize his identity, who he is, how he needs to, at the end of the day, step up and be a hero, fight against the caste discrimination and casteism in general. That part is nicely molded into the overall plot of the migrant crisis. Very interesting to see the dynamics and the power play between the powerful and the weak. Then you have Pankaj Kapur, who is the typical brainwashed person who's easily brainwashed, manipulated, the Hindu-Muslim thing going on. And he basically represents that reality of how the pandemic was communalized, right? A pandemic, imagine that. The pandemic was communalized, unfortunately, and his plot represents that. Dia Mirza, right? She represents the privileged India. The India that is disconnected, cannot sympathize with the underprivileged. She represents the let's be positive gang, right? Let's look the other way gang. That is Dia Mirza. Ashutosh Rana, meanwhile, is someone who is basically the result of his surroundings. Everyone is a result of their surroundings at the end of the day. But this film paints a very multi-layered reality of what India is. Then you also have the journalist character, who's trying to showcase, what's happening, yet has a very, easy or rather kind way of looking at things, or a very twisted way of looking at things. You have that photographer who represents the cynicism in all of us. All of us who see the reality are extremely cynical. From a technical standpoint, this film is directed very nicely. I love the choice of the black and white, cinematography and the look of the film, because at the end of the day, I don't even realize it. Right in the beginning, you notice it, but the content is so strong that like it doesn't matter that it's black and white. It's like Anubhav Sinha, the director, and the DOP wanted to show us that, hey, look, we can make an engaging film and you won't even notice it's black and white after a certain point because you'll just be so engaged. And that's essentially what happened. Then obviously the sound design, the acting by a lot of the lesser known, actors was very nice, very real. It's like they're not acting. Like they look like migrants. It was very real, very raw in that sense. Obviously, Rajkumar Rao, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's just you totally feel with him, Pankaj Kapur, you hate him for what he is, but at the same time you sympathize with him. It's like this weird middle ground area. Dia Mirza, I felt could have done better. It seemed a bit caricaturish, even though I do acknowledge the fact that such privileged people, disconnected people exist. Something was off there. Who else? Ashutosh Rana, good as always. Everyone did a very good job when it comes to the acting department. Sound design, from a technical standpoint, this film is strong, no doubt. Obviously, it's not a high budget film, but it's good. It's a good film. It looks good, and it's powerful. The plot is powerful. The direction is powerful. The acting is powerful. It really shakes you up, okay? But once again, you have to acknowledge reality for what it is to be shaken up. You can't be in denial all the time. Regarding Anubhav Sinha, to make this type of film requires a lot of courage, okay? In today's day and age, to question the faults of society, to talk about the uncomfortable things, to basically critique the establishment indirectly. I know certain things and shots were forced to be deleted by the censor board, ultimately. But it still takes courage. He's questioning power, critiquing power. He's showcasing the dynamics between different things, many things we don't like to accept. He may face some consequences. He knows that, but he still goes for it. And these are the type of people I respect, people who have a voice, people who speak out, right? So hats off to Anubhav Sinha. And once again, I want everyone to watch this film. Everyone needs to watch this film. It's a film definitely worth watching. It's a film of today. Very well made. All right. This is Selfie Style on the Spot. Please like, share, subscribe. Peace out. Bye.